Presentation will begin momentarily.
Good evening. This is Chief OBIDIKE, Abvet News, BTV Network, Washington, D.C. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some places in this beautiful world that we have, good night. This news is brought to you by Abvet News, BTV, Washington, D.C. We have today an opportunity to talk about which way forward for Nigeria, which way forward for Biafra, which way forward for IBOP, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of a great number of people. This is Let's Talk About It. Let's talk about it. The reason we call this show Let's Talk About It is because there's so many people that don't want to talk about issues that are controversial, dangerous, life-threatening to many people around the world. We are focusing today on Biafra. Many people maybe not know where Biafra is. You should. Biafra is a nation that have undergone some tremendous events over many years. We have some guests on this show called Let's Talk About It, and they will actually tell you who they are. I thank them for being patient. They've been very patient. We have, I believe still, Attorney Charlie Chikazie, who is known lovingly Ikemba. We have Igwe, who is also from here in the United States. And we have Nenibe, also from here in the United States. And I welcome all of you. Thank you all very much. I'd like to just begin with the one person that I've known for many, many, many years. And we have been in many, many battles. Not with each other, but on the battlefield for Igbo people. Attorney Charlie Chikazie, greetings to you, my brother. Thank you so much for staying with us all the time. Really appreciate it. How you doing? Hello, Charlie Chikazie. Are you there with me? Is Charlie Chikazie still there? Well, if Charlie Chikazie, a legal practitioner, is always very busy, and we'll try to get him back. But let's go to Igwe, a person we know, Igwe, and we have to greet him in the proper tradition. Igwe, that is out of respect. My dear brother, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Because when they want to tell everybody briefly who you are and where you're from, and let's talk about what's going on in Adibo.
All right. My name is Nkem Onomara. I'm OBIDIKE Hamma, the president of Igbo Solidarity Movement, and also the founder of the Manedo Sociocultural Club based in the New York, New Jersey area. I'm from Imo State, from Uguta local government, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys and with your audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Igwe. Um, my dear brother, which way do you think that, let's talk about, the first person is uh, Nkemka, no, not Nkemka, IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, and its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, who is still incarcerated. What are the problems that we will have to face with Nnamdi Kanu still being incarcerated? What do you see? How do you see the future with him?
Well, it's a very sad situation, and any right-thinking person, any lover of freedom, would be concerned about his continuous incarceration. Not just based on the circumstances with which he was incarcerated, but also the fact that the purpose of his struggle is one that should resonate with any lover of freedom all over the world. Without going into the details, I'm not in the legal field, so I don't know. I don't know nothing about legalese. I just have common sense. But I know that with the system, the legal system in Nigeria, the circumstances under which he is right now is one where I am concerned. First of all, concerned about his safety, and also concerned about his ability to get fair trial, fair legal process in the judicial system over there. Already there's been indications of things that make one to be really concerned as far as the courts are concerned. But beyond that, I think his plight and the situation is one that no right-thinking Igbo person can afford to overlook. If he's silenced, then justice and freedom of speech and expression and so many other freedoms will also be silenced in that same process. So that's my concern, and we're hoping that things will be done properly, but I really do have concerns about his future under these circumstances, about the struggle as it is right now.
In your view, do you think that Nnamdi Kanu will be freed from his incarcerated position?
I do believe he will be free. I think it's just the process of how he regains his freedom that's of concern. Recently, we had the news of some Igbo leaders that went to Aso Rock, to the presidential villa, and met with President Buhari, president of Nigeria, to request for his unconditional release. It seems they are probably trying to figure out, with all due respect and with all honesty, it seems they're trying to figure out a face-saving, soft landing way to ensure his release. One of my concerns also is how unconditional will the unconditional release be? So I do believe he's going to be free. I believe he's going to be released, but it's a matter of time, and we'll just have to watch.
Igwe, I'm surprised that you believe the words of Muhammadu Buhari. If that is Muhammadu Buhari in Aso Rock, do you believe that we are dealing with a Nigerian, or are we dealing with somebody imported from somewhere else?
I wouldn't know exactly, and I wouldn't want to go into that to be honest with you, because we know there's been indications that there's Jibril is then there's somebody else. However, regardless of who that person is, the person represents that office, and that is what we are looking at right now. I would want to believe that whoever it is, whether it's the real Buhari or is a body double or somebody else that was cloned or brought in from anywhere, they make those utterances representing that office of the president, and as the top of the executive arm of government, it should have some meaning. Now, whether I believe it or not is different. It's a different story altogether. However, the point is that there's been pressure, and for that utterance to be made, for that statement to be made, it shows that the pressure is mounting and it's working. That's why they had a reason to make that statement, promising to look into his release. However, my belief in his being released
before
is
I go
not.
to talk to Nena Ibe, I want to ask you, over the years, many years, the person, quote unquote, known as Muhammadu Buhari, have had his hands full. As Igbo people say, his hands are not white enough, it's not clean. When it comes to Igbo people, that he's been very much involved in annihilating the lives of hundreds of thousands and millions of Igbo people. And what's your assessment of trusting this person?
Well, they say trust is earned. Um, uh, I don't know if I trust him or anybody else. He's not the only one that probably has Biafran blood in their hands, so to say. And I said, especially with politicians, I find it very difficult to trust politicians. In this particular case, someone said he's very easy to read and understand. So I personally think that emphasis shouldn't be placed much on Buhari as an individual, because he's just a part of a system or part of a clique or part of a group of people, and he's doing what he has to do. I think a lot of emphasis should be placed on looking at our problems from within. In Igbo they said, "Ane shula mama before I put ama." That means you have to look beautiful from inside before you come outside. So if he's perpetrating these things, it would be difficult for him to do it without some kind of cooperation from within. So I think that is a very crucial aspect of the whole spectrum that we cannot overlook.
We'll be back on you, but let me go now to my dear sister Nenibe. My dear sister Ekenekwanga, good evening, good afternoon. How are you? Hello? My dear sister Nena, can you hear me? Nena, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, welcome. Welcome, and could you give us a brief CV of who you are and where you're from?
Well, it's difficult these days to tell people who we are due to the hunting they are doing out there. But I'll just say I'm a Biafran from Imo State of origin. Let me leave it there. Yeah.
Well, welcome, my dear sister. Well, I would like to go back to Igwe, but first of all, let me ask you. Well, Nnamdi Kanu is still incarcerated. The whole mission, the whole ideology of Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra have always been freedom for him. Do you think that that's possible, that Nnamdi Kanu will be freed?
Well, there is nothing that may be impossible anyway. So it is very, very possible. Nnamdi Kanu will come out of prison alive, and he will have opportunity to be seen and interact with his followers in IPOB family and other well-meaning friends. So I am absolutely sure this will happen. Very sure
that he will be freed. Well, if you were, if you were Muhammadu Buhari, and you've had your hands involved in many atrocities, many killings, many things that has happened to Igbo people, would you trust Muhammadu Buhari?
Well, like the last speaker just clearly said, we are looking at that position of Nigerian presidency. And we are believing that whoever is there is, whatever decision they are making is for the office. So I will trust the office of presidency to consider a Nigerian for now, because we haven't gotten our nation Biafra. He's the same man that is forgiving the bandits, the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, that are thousands and thousands of people up in the north, kidnapping, collecting ransoms. When they surrender, he bring them in, put them in a camp, feed them, pay them, and call them repentant bandits. So that spirit that he has to forgive, that spirit should also be extended to Nnamdi Kanu. Kanu have not done anything up to anything.
Well, you've said something that is quite interesting and is a critical question for everybody who knows about the conflict in Biafra nation. The nation, Biafra nation, that's the mission for the indigenous people of Biafra, to restore the nation.
Yes.
Do you think that those who want one Nigeria believe that that's a possibility? Is that what Igbo wants? Igbo people, is that what we want? A nation of our own?
Let me give an example why I have no iota of doubt that Biafra will. Let's just look at the same concluded Anambra. The loudest mouth that we had on the air, on the television, in the TV, in the radio was Anjoba. He was basking in place to prosecute the election with $225 billion. He will increase it to $250 billion or whatever. But when it comes to the election day, it is for the people to decide who is the governor. So I just wanted them, what we want is referendum. If they give us opportunity to conduct a referendum, then we will know whether the Biafrans want Biafra or they want to be in Nigeria. So this is not about the matter of whose voice is loudest in the air or whose voice is loudest in the social media. So anybody can say anything within the enclave where they are. But let us see in a referendum table, those who say yes, they want to go or become a Biafran, if they are in the higher number, majority carries the vote. And those who said no, if they're in the higher number, majority carries the vote. So the only way to know whether Biafra will be restored or not is through referendum. It is not through the noise being made in the social media. That's my own take there. But in my inner part of my body, by the feelings of the people, by what Biafrans are going through, by the sufferings we are going, by the annihilation that is happening in the eastern region, by the poverty, they are impoverishing us in poverty. Our businesses are being derailed. There is no port in Biafra land. There is no national airport. There is no access road. There is no access road through the sea. Air have been clamped down. Which Biafran that wants to remain there for the rest of his life? The few people, the lower percentage, who are enjoying Abuja and Lagos, they are the ones speaking louder. They have access to radio, they have access to TV, they are shouting, they are telling the world there will be no Biafra or Biafra doesn't. But let them give us referendum. Referendum will decide whether there will be Biafra or not.
Nana, neighbor. How many times did I call you? 3 times.
3 times.
I believe that we should get to Igwe to ask this question about referendum. Igwe, explain to us, especially English-speaking countries, what is this referendum about compared to our own nation, Biafra nation? How do you get a nation through a referendum? Who will participate in this referendum? Will it be the entire Igbo people in the whole Nigeria? You may have to include some cows and some llama and some people from Chad or from some other countries. Huh? Igwe, explain it to us. Referendum or Biafra? Which way forward with this? How do you get about it?
Well, again, I wish the Honorable Attorney Chikeze is here to to shed more light on this. I'm not an expert in this field, but from my understanding of the referendum, which has given birth to so many other nations before, it usually applies where people in a specific geographic area elect to decide how they choose to govern themselves, or if they want to be a part of an existing unit or be separate and independent from that unit, and things along those lines. So we have seen that happen in so many countries in Europe, even in Africa. There's been cases. As a matter of fact, some parts of Nigeria used to be Cameroon in the northeastern part, like the Adamawa region and all those things. But they opted to become a part of Nigeria through referendum. So also certain parts of Africa, different parts of Africa, some countries elected to be. I think Southern Sudan also eventually was as a result of a referendum. So it's where people of a certain geographical area decide on a specific issue, especially having to do with their governance and their and then they vote on it for those that agree and those that do not, and the majority usually carries the vote. So now in the case of Biafra, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. In case of Biafra.
Right. In the case of Biafra, one would expect that it's not just an Igbo thing, understanding the for land in itself. So it's not just Igbo people, but it's all people that falling grass region will now have a voice, speak and say, this is what we want. We want to continue to be part of Nigeria, or we want to be separate and independent from Biafra, and and be as an independent nation state. That's how it's supposed to work.
Well, my dear brother, my dear Igwe, I like to be very transparent. The three legal practitioners that we had scheduled, we ran into some problems, and we're going to bring in Ignatius Soronadi. But before we bring in Ignatius, who will catch up, he's an outspoken member, a very outspoken individual, and I will be posing the very same questions to him, and I thank him very much. The practitioners that we had scheduled, Charlie Chikazie had to go back because he had to prepare for a legal case tomorrow. Our lawyer, Jimako, and I'm not going to give up on them. We're going to bring them back. By then, we will have everything in place and all the technologies in place. Our lawyer, Jimaka, called in and he was ready to go, but then NEPA came into the problem that he was having in Nigeria. Therefore, he was not able to join us tonight to explain referendum and constitutional issues and which way forward. And of course, we had another attorney from Washington, D.C., who was having some technical difficulty with his own equipment. And we'll get all that straightened out as we move forward, because everything is going forward. All of us, events that are happening at home are going forward. But Igwe, I appreciate you telling us the views that you have. And I will bring in Ignatius Soronadi, my dear brother, a army man. I greet you. I salute you. How are you, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on board. We got quite a number of people that are knocking on the door to come on the show, but we have definitely caught you. Not easy to catch, but we caught you. Thank you.
That was a good catch. That was a good catch.
One of the things that I've asked Igwe and then Naibe is about Nnamdi Kanu. If they freed him, Buhari mysteriously free him from incarceration. Which way forward? If they just simply released him, but that is before we talk about the dialogue with the chieftaincies that went there to visit him from Alibo. Before we even get to there, but if he became free, do you think that Buhari will free him?
Buhari, the so-called Buhari, and the evil empire called Nigeria, supported by Britain and world powers, they're not going to let go. If they will ever let go, they're not going to let go easy. You know, situations like this have been happening around the world. This is not the first time. Nigeria, the Fulani hegemony, they are very defiant. They're not going to let go. The only way they're going to let go, if you, like their president said, if you talk to them, speak to them in the language they understand. Because what they've been doing, there's not been reactions from our people. Our people are stooping too low for them. So when we stoop too low, they lacerate our backside in the roads of no. Yes. So if we don't give it back to them in their own coins, they're not going to let go. They are not taking us serious. They are taking us for a ride. If you listen to his language and his body language, his elocution, what he says, what he said, what he's been saying is a slight on the integrity of our people, the Igbo, the Biafrans. So for people to understand you, you speak in the language they understand. As simple as that.
You know, we're talking IG. We affectionately call you IG.
Sure.
The people that we're talking to, the American government, Europeans, English-speaking countries. Do you think that they understand what is going on in that part of Africa?
Believe me.
Do they know what's going on? Do you think?
Believe you me, they know more than you know. They know it firsthand before it happens. See all the coups that have been happening in Africa, the killing of African statesmen like Thomas Sankara, like Patrice Lumumba, even the exile of Kwame Nkrumah, the killing of Ironsi, Ironside they call him, the Biafran war. Believe you me, they were all brain behind all this. They know it. They planned, they executed, they carried out all the exploitation of Africa, the partitioning of Africa to themselves, by themselves, and for themselves. You know, it doesn't happen behind their knowledge.
We're going to go more into that, but I want Nene to keep in mind that we're going to talk about the African Charter and what it says. So keep that in mind, and we'll be coming back to you on the African Charter issue. IG, what do we want? Do we want a nation belonging to Biafrans, or do we want to be part of Nigeria? By any means, referendum, constitutional amendments, what does Igbo people really want? Tell Americans, tell everybody, because I don't think the Congressional Black Caucus are listening. I don't even know that they know what's going on, but you say they do. Tell them what we want.
What we want is not a hard nut to crack. It's a simple thing. They have been there before. America was once held by the jugglers, by the thieving British. They fought their way out. So goes to the rest of the world. Even European countries like Germany and all those pockets of countries in Europe, they were once held down by the British and they fought their way out. So we want every man and a woman, as long as you're a living being, have a right to decide their own destiny. All these charters, United Nations, EU, what they call it, AU and all that, it's all based on human rights. So if they refuse, I don't know how to put this, but actually that's what we want. Just the same thing if it befits them, if it's good for them. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. If it is good for them, it's good as well for us. So we are members of the human society, the human global world. We are all contemporaries. So we also need to breathe an air of freedom, if not for the first time, that Africa needs a place to stand, to feel, to breathe the air of freedom, just like other countries. But there has to be a place for that to start. There has to be a starting point. For instance, when God created the world as per the Bible, he came, there was no place for him to stand. So his spirit hovered over the waters. So the same way African spirit is hovering over the waters. Well, we need to create Biafra so we can stand there and make Africa what it's supposed to be and what it should be.
Thank you so much about that. This is BTV Vet News. We are coming to you from Washington, D.C. with three very credible individuals who knows what's going on and are talking to the rest of the world. And this is why we call this show, Let's Talk About It. Because it appears that some people just, even though IG says that they know, there are so many people that seem to just ignore what's going on. In a country that has lost 2.5 to 300 million people in a genocidal war. Which way forward? Some 60 years or 50 years later, here we are, a second time. Nigeria is now sitting on top of an explosive keg. And we certainly would like to talk about the British role and what's going on in that amalgamated nation. The indigenous people of Biafra have a desire. And I do not believe they're about to stand still and do nothing about or have a repeat of what happened before. The head of this organization, IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is still incarcerated. Will dialogue with the Nigerian government change IPOB mission of becoming a sovereign nation? That's my question to you. Will dialogue change the mission of the indigenous people of Biafra's mission? Which way forward of a sovereign nation? Igwe, come on in and talk to us. If we dialogue, will that change the mission of the indigenous people of Biafra of having their own sovereign nation? Will that change it?
Well, I'm not in a position to speak on behalf of the great and formidable IPOB family. But I would dare say that their mission seems unmistakable, and which is the realization of an independent and sovereign Biafra. As far as the dialogue being able to change that, I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't think so. The truth of the matter is that in human endeavor, at the end of the day, most times, even after conflicts and violent conflicts and everything, at the end of the day, everything still ends up in a round table negotiation and understandings, and conclusions are reached at that point. But the goal of IPOB from the name itself is the realization of Biafra. And I don't think just mere negotiations would change that, especially in view of the fact that one of the negotiating parties in that case, if indeed there's any form of negotiation, is one that cannot be trusted, based on their previous behavior. It's difficult anyone having in the Gulf of Nigeria money conversations like that. For instance, with the case of Nnamdi Kanu, he was granted bail several times initially when he was detained previously, and the government still found a way to still keep detaining him. Finally, they granted him bail and gave these extraordinarily unusual bail conditions. that were eventually met, and he was released on bail. Same government that still sent to Afarouk Umar here, where he was staying. It wasn't like it was a threat. It wasn't like he was about to escape or anything like that. But he was fulfilling, basic terms of his bail conditions. It's supposed to be a form of negotiation, and this party still couldn't of the agreement, which prompted eventual fleeing of the country. So it's in a nutshell. Again, I'd say I doubt that negotiations can change the purpose of IPOB, and not just IPOB. Most BF are fed up. I think only Ahmad is doing the same thing over and over again and expects change. So the general desire is to try and fend for ourselves and be independent and sovereign and see how that goes.
Igwe, I think that some people might disagree with you on the initial arrest, incarceration, and bail given, and on whether he actually was given bail, or did he have to escape for his life. I think most people believe that in that kind of situation where the military are coming after you with all kinds of arsenals, and your mother and your father are lost, you lose your mother, that's not really a bail. That's that's saving your life. I don't think
I think I was for the avoidance of doubt, I think I was clear on that. I never said what my point why I brought that up was to emphasize the fact that they said if you come into the table, you have to come with clean hands, for equity. So point is the government didn't keep their own portion of the deal. They had absolutely no reason to send a whole bunch of military people to that civilian population, to his hometown, to his compound, to attack. There's no question about that. Just for the avoidance of that, that's exactly the point I was trying to make, and I think we are saying the same thing. But if anybody thinks differently, they're entitled to their opinion too. But again, my point is that one part of the negotiating party didn't keep their own end of the deal, which is the government side. Because if they did, they wouldn't have attacked that community and his compound the way they did. And the fact that he had to flee was necessary, and no sane normal human being would stand and stay to be killed. In the event of danger, you take caution and you proceed for cover.
Of course, any human being that whose life is worth, all lives are worth it. So yeah, but my dear sister Nena, if it seems like I have not come to you, I am coming to you, Madam Ibe. I know that you would like to put on this discussion, what is this African Charter? I know and you can talk about any other part of the discussion so far, but what is the African Charter? What is it? Can you give the public, remind some of them what it means?
Yeah, I will talk about African Charter, but let me put a little words in what Igwe had just said. No, we are talking about negotiation. Who is negotiating with who?
Uh-huh.
As far as
How do you
negotiate? There is no negotiation going on. None.
Uh-huh.
Leaders, the chiefs that went to the Aso Rock, they went for one mission. They want him released. There was no negotiation that happened between them and the government. I don't think there is. Because any negotiation, when I'm talking about negotiation, I'm talking about negotiation concerning Biafra nation.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a negotiation on Biafra nation. How it will come, when it will come, if it will come or not. That negotiation must include Nnamdi Kanu,
who is not there.
who is the real deal in Biafra agitation. So for now, I think our fathers are very, very heavy because of the situation in the East. It's like I believe the guy that led the delegation, our elder, he made a statement. He said that Buhari will be remembered as a president who saw Nigeria burning and then he quenched the fire. So
I had a
quenching the
problem with that
fire
statement.
is what they asked Buhari to do. Stop, let this burning stop. And then when Nnamdi Kanu comes out, negotiation will begin. So I am assuming there is no negotiation for now. Because you don't negotiate what you don't know, what you understand. Many people standing there, maybe minus Abvet, none of them can stand tall and say, I want Biafra. All of them have the Nigerian domain. They have houses in Abuja and everywhere. They have banks and everything. None want Biafra to come. The people that need Biafra are the downtrodden, the grassroots people who are not even having opportunity to eat 3 square meal. These are the ones looking for Biafra. So that is all what I want to chip in
What
that
you're
area
saying,
of negotiation. Then on
I
African
think,
Charter, the first chapter
yeah,
of African Charter, Article 19 says, all people shall be equal. They shall
all
enjoy the
people
same
shall what?
respect
Go ahead.
and
All
they shall
people
have the
shall.
same rights. Nothing shall justify the domination of a people by another. Look at it. This charter was signed by Nigerian government. But why is Fulani dominating everybody else? Why is it that since 6 years, the idea of equal representation in government appointment have been discarded? How is it that the equal employment in federal government status have been discarded? A particular session is dominating every other session. Everything they want must be given to them. And after they took over all the parastatals, they hid everything. They hid all security. They are the president. They are in the Senate. They are everywhere. The last but not the least is they are forcing us to give them our land. That is domination. This is not part of African Charter. And unfortunately, AU is as they can't do anything. Our politics, African politics, is devoid of probity and equity. It is all money and who has the upper hand. And that is why I am absolutely sure that for Biafra to be in existence, it is we that will make it possible. And our brother IG made it clear. Until we get it, nobody gets it for us. International community knows what is happening to us. African nations knows what is happening to us. It is up to us to say enough is enough, or there will be no Igbo land in the next 5-10 years. We will be arbitrated. Of course, they remove us from the map of Africa. The birth of Biafra was removed. Nobody teaches history in Nigeria. So it is step by step, everything is coming to place. Finally, the Fulani local government will be created in all the states. And then a Fulani man will represent me in the Senate from Imo State. And a Fulani man will represent me in Enugu State from Enugu State. And a Fulani man will be the senator coming from River State. That is what they are looking for. Pure and total domination. But it is up to us to say yes to it, or we say no. And it is on us. It's not on anybody. No foreign power will do it. Their interest is the oil. Like my brother I said, if Biafra will stand up to that and say, that their oil, we either pour it on the floor or things things will change. But as long as we keep saying it's all right, it's okay, I don't know whether my grandchildren will ever come back to Nigeria to say, this is my father's land. I mean to Biafra land. Oh, God, I'm no.
Well, I want to ask both of you, Ruga, is Ruga what the Islamic nations, all of them, including OIC, is that what they're trying to complete? Ruga,
Yes.
to take over
Yes.
the entire southern peninsula, southern area, western, the whole Nigeria.
Let me
Is
tell
it
you what this is
reversible?
all about. That is about creating local government area for Fulanis in southern states. By the time they create a minimum of 3 to 4 local government, that local government can form a senatorial zone. And then they will elect a Fulani man who will come from Imo State to represent what's supposed to be Igbo land or Imo State. And then when they get how many senators around the 5 eastern states and get maybe 5 senators, then they have finished the domination. Anything that concerns Igbo nation will be killed instantaneously. That's what Fulanization is all about. Creating enough local government area that will give them enough representative, that will give them enough senatorial seats in the National Assembly from the southern Nigeria, including all the Yoruba states. That is what Fulanization is aiming at. And this could be achieved in the next 10 years.
Igwe,
That's what it is.
do you believe that Ruga can be reversed? The domination. Do you think it's possible to reverse it? Or do you think it's going to move forward? Igwe, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, do you think that Ruga is reversible?
Oh, one, please.
That domination.
The system rebooted, so I don't know. I may have missed something, but I'm here.
We're hearing you.
Okay, great.
Do you think that the Islamic domination, which is called Ruga, is that reversible? Can it be reversed so that the entire North, Islamic movement South, is not successful?
Absolutely. If countries can actually revise, review, and amend their constitutions, then laws and programs can also be reviewed or even outlawed or completely revoked. So about Ruga in itself, the idea of Ruga doesn't have solid foundations in existing constitutions of several states and even a federal constitution of the country. So Ruga definitely can be reversed or even abolished, or in the worst case scenario, it could be amended or adjusted to a position where it actually makes sense and where it's not a blatant stealing from the people, taking their lands and imposing things on them that they don't want.
I certainly am one of those people that says, no way. You know, let me ask both of you. It appears that even the election that just took place in Anambra State, with 35 to 40,000 military personnel all over the 21 local government area to conduct the election. It appears that the military, even after the election, they're still there. They haven't left. They haven't. The vehicles, the tanks, have not turned around, even at the end of the election, and go back to where they came from. Now, with that said, some soldiers are now going to people's homes, knocking on the door, looking for any man, whether they belong to any organization, and bringing them out, and atrocities and killing is taking place. Hey, does that bother you? Igwe, does that bother you at all that the military that was in Anambra State have not been returned back to the barracks?
Yes, it does. And it should not bother just me, but it should bother any right-thinking human being. The extensive militarization of Anambra State under the guise of them is something very worrisome.
Yes.
No, prior to the election, there was this air of unrest and insecurity that was prevalent in Anambra State. By the way, questioned as regards to the source, so the brains behind it. But never before in the history of that country has there been this kind of military deployment just for conducting an election. In itself, the deployment also scared people from coming out to vote. And now the extra judicial, very unprofessional conduct of some members of the military that were sent has a very serious consequence where, it needs to be addressed, even if it has to go to the International Court of Justice or something. Because we understand that, like you rightly said, in some cases they were going randomly from house to house and just picking up any young man they see with the heat of IPOB, and some are being early executed or just arrested. People are missing. Hello, can you hear me?
No, I'm hearing you. I'm just happy
Right.
that IG is back and on the air. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so people are missing. Young men are missing. Nobody can give account. They were just abducted today. Their families don't know their whereabouts. Nobody knows whatever happened to them. Lots of them are languishing in jails in very terrible conditions all over. And then a lot of them have been killed, and nobody's been held accountable for these lives and this blood has been spilled. So yes, the presence of the military is of concern to me, and I think it's the election is over. If they are still there, it's time for them to go back to the barracks.
IG, thank you for coming back, and I'd like to ask you. It really bothers me, but our traditional rulers, they went to Buhari's state and seemingly like begging for. I just don't like it, but that's just me. Begging Buhari to release Nnamdi Kanu. And do you think that that's something that Buhari would do? Release Nnamdi Kanu? And if he does not, which way forward for Nnamdi?
That's a stubborn fly called Buhari. And all that he's doing, his people and those who give him energy to fly, to soar, applauding him. So for that, He's lost his common sense. So he's holding on. There goes a pride there. And believe you me, there goes also a fall. He's not going to let go easy. He's not going to let go unless you give them a foul blow. Give them a blow below the belt. They're not going to let go. I'm talking. Yes, the scripture says it. I'm pointing it out right. Resist the enemy. Resist the enemy, and he will flee from you. We have not put on any resistance. That is why they are showing off. You see? So when we speak in the way that they will understand, give them a hit below the belt, then they will, approach us with caution.
We
Yes,
have
brother
some
thing.
callers. We have some callers coming in. Not yet, but we have some people that would like to call in. So I'll take some calls. Anybody that have calls for IG, for Igwe, for Nen Naibe, and for me, please call in. We have the number there that you can actually call in. Call the studio. We're ready to take some questions. The studio line is 1202-250-0001. Call in. We're listening. We're waiting for you. But go ahead, my dear brother IG.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. When you are looking for freedom, when you are looking for a way to escape captivity, there is no easy way out of that. There should be no ornamentations. You don't have to be politically correct, diplomatically correct, or religiously correct. All this will come into play after you have freed yourself and established yourself. Take, for instance, the state of Israel. While they were living, it has happened 2 times in their cycle of life. The first one was recorded in the Bible. Next one was recorded after the Second World War, when they were almost annihilated from the face of the earth.
Annihilated, yeah.
Yes, they were driven away from their fatherland. They had nowhere else to call their homes. They would have chosen to stay back in Europe, where they were merchants of gold. They were doing well, like the Igbos say, our property in the north, our houses and all that in the north. They should have stayed there, and then there would have been nothing like Israel today. But they summoned up courage, came together in Oslo in 1948, said, we got to go home. There's no place like home. Do you know that the rest of the world resisted them? Do you know that the British, devilish Britain, resisted them? Even went there and had a military occupation of the Israeli territory. Encouraged the Palestinians. Those are the Philistines, like you used to hear in the Bible.
Right.
The Palestinians, they changed it. They call the Palestinians Philistines. Those that never, the same thing. Our own Philistines are the Fulanis. They don't let us rest. They don't let us to have a sense of belonging, supported by evil Britain and the rest of the world. So the Israelis, they took it upon themselves. They took it as a thing of a responsibility. Every man, come on. They took it upon, fought out the devil, cut off the pangs of enslavement. And today they become one of the greatest, even a very small country, but they're so great. You can't fight them militarily. That's what's up. That's what's there. If you keep begging them, ain't nobody gonna listen to you. Believe you me. To the rest of the world, to the white world, I'm gonna say this: you as a black person don't exist. You're not humans. You might think you are. They don't. Look what happened in Biafra. Way much outweighs what happened in Kosovo. But do you know the NATO organization, also North Atlantic Treaty Organization? They picked all they had and liberated that place. Take, for instance, what happened in Rwanda. They closed their eyes and watch that genocide materialize. What happened in Burundi? What happened in Sudan? What happened in Biafra? First of all, that thing that happened in Biafra did not just happen from 1968 through 1970. It had been happening since 1945. They've been killing and killing and killing. And at the end of the war, there's no single day that has passed in Nigeria from 1970 that no one Igbo, no one Biafran has not been killed by the Nigerian forces or Nigerian agents.
And it's still going on.
Yes, there's no single day that no Biafran has not been felled by Nigerian military, police, name it, call it. There's no single day. Multiply it by the number of years from 1970 till now.
IG, this is American Biafran Veterans News. This is Biafran Television News, Washington, D.C. Many of us are veterans of war. We are soldiers. And what you have said, both about Israel and about Biafra, is, in my view, correct. I just want to ask you. I want to ask you something. And, you know, this is something that we need the world to know. We need the world to hear us. Is war inevitable? Or will the so-called peaceful dialogue prevail and Nigeria remains the same? What is your view?
I guess that comes to me. Okay.
Go ahead, Igwe. And then Madam Ibe, you know, and then my brother IG. Go ahead, Igwe. Is war inevitable? Do we have to do like the Israelis did? Or will peaceful dialogue prevail and Nigeria remains one? What is your view?
There's a popular saying, I don't know, sometimes I mix these things up, but they said it goes something like, those who make peaceful change possible make violent change inevitable, something like that, something along those lines.
I can't help you there.
But you get the drift of what I'm saying. Military conflict or war
Go ahead, my brother. You seem to have frozen. Well, in that case, I'll come back to you. IG, what do you think?
What I think?
Yes, is war inevitable? Or will peaceful dialogue, so-called peaceful dialogue, prevail and Nigeria remains as one?
Okay. It depends on what you mean by peace. There will be no war if there was no peace. And there will be no peace if there is no war. So, for you to get peace, you must be prepared for war. On the other hand, does the people that you are involved with, do they understand what it means to be peaceful? Do they understand the language of peace? They don't. They're always muzzle people down. And there's this one popular song by one of the reggae artists, Peter Tosh, where he used to sing, everyone is crying out peace, peace, but none is crying out for justice. So there'll be no peace if there's no justice. So what we need is equal rights and justice. Then that's when you talk of peace. You see, where there's understanding, two people can lie down on the edge of a sword. But believe you me, When there's no understand, the people you're dealing with, they don't understand peace. They don't share common values with you. So it's not going to work. Peace is inevitable. Peace is elusive there. And war also is inevitable. If two people don't struggle together and, you know, weigh their power and all that, that ain't going to happen. You practice Sharia up north. The Fulani, they want Sharia and they want to shove it down your throat. They want to rub it in your face. And that is not your way of life. That is not your value system.
And that's not justice, not peace.
There ain't going to be no justice. There has never been justice. If you live side by side with them, there ain't going to be no justice. Okay, there are kinds of wars. You're talking about war. We are fighting, we are at war all along. It's not being called war because we have not fought back. You see, there's war, there's a religious war. Are you free in Nigeria to practice your religion in the north? But they have mosque in the east. They are free. We are not free. There is economic war. They stopped the building of airports, seaports, roads, and all that. You know, the smaller any economic move you make in Nigeria, it doesn't happen because they have themselves all over the place. You order something, you import something, they will confiscate it. Tell you this, they go against the laws of the land. They don't obey rule of law. They don't understand. It's not in their diction. They don't understand. There is I've mentioned religion. There's political war. These people tell you point blank in your face that you cannot aspire to be a president in that country. They occupy all political positions. And this has been going on. So when you talk about, are we going to fight war, is this, so what are we not doing about war? We've been at war all along. There is infrastructural war. They don't let us have industries or things like that. Economic war. All this, they have levied against us. They have levied against us. All this why? And like cowards, we stoop low before them. We beg them. And they're like molten images. They have eyes they don't see. They have ears they don't hear. They have mouth they don't speak. They cannot reason. They be mocking at you like graven or molten images. So there's no need having anything to do with them in any way. It doesn't work. Light and darkness don't mingle together. Just like trying to mix oil and water together. You can try it.
Do. Doesn't work.
It ain't gonna happen. Yes, it doesn't happen. So let them be. We can agree. We'll come up with a mutual agreement. Oh, this is how we're gonna live side by side with each other. You're our neighbor. We are your neighbor. We can agree, have bilateral agreement. But holding us down, you're going nowhere. That means there's something about it. They are taking advantage of this whole situation. In politics, in democracy, no section of that country should rise militarily against the other side. Economically against the other side. So everybody should be living flying on an equal lane. But that don't happen with them. They don't know it. And the pride, they rub it in our faces. They kill, they ravage, they pillage, they cause brigandages. They do all kinds of things. And we are calling on the world to come
and
to
there's no repercussion.
Nothing like that. There's nothing. The kind of war crimes and crimes against humanity that have committed against our people, against you and I, is insurmountable in the history of the world, and are going scot-free. And the people you are calling upon, the Western world, are doing business with them. They like it that way. They intentionally create that rowdy atmosphere. So they'll be coming and going unperturbed, without anybody questioning them. Britain lives off of what they stole from Africa. So they don't want Africa to stand on its own. Britain lives off of what they steal from other people. They're living good, feeding good, off of our blood. You understand?
I'm so happy
they
to
mean
see.
Good for their people. They mean good for their people.
Thank you.
They have a good government.
Thank you so much. You're absolutely correct in my view. Igwe, thank you. I know that we might have been some technical difficulties, but just to ask you that question again before I go to Nenna Ibe, and we need to really hear from her. Is war? First of all, let me check on this. Can you hear me? Igwe,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
I can
thank
hear you
God.
loud and clear. Yeah.
Thank you very much. War or peace? Is war inevitable? Is that what Biafrans have to really finally fully do? Go to
Uh,
war? Forget all this talk about peaceful something. I mean, how can you make peace
well, I
with
think my
people that
brother
don't
IG.
don't
Sorry, go
give you
ahead.
what peace means? They don't have a sense of peace. How can you make peace with them?
Well, I think my brother IG already summarized it pretty much. But I'll just want to say that I would just want to say two things in addition to what
Please
he
do.
is very eloquently pointed out. One is the fact that before engaging in war from the standpoint of military confrontation, every and all possible options must be exhausted. And we must continue to persevere in that regard. And secondly, if those of you with sound military background would relate, war is something that's it's not a joke. It's something that
Ugly.
requires proper, adequate planning, strategy, and everything else that goes with it. Only a fool goes to war without preparation. Like I just said, we're already in a war of survival that we've been fighting and we've been excelling. People came out from the Biafran War penniless. And if you had $1 million or £1 million in your account back then, all you got was £20. And our people have survived and excelled in that war. So, in various fronts, the war is ongoing, and we've been excelling. But when it comes to the military part of it, we want to exhaust and absolutely exhaust every possible option. Secondly,
To not go to war. You're
yeah,
saying we have to
secondly,
exhaust all possible options not to have war.
absolutely. Secondly, not to have a military confrontation. Secondly, in some, like you said, sometimes you don't have a choice but to defend yourself. Just recently, there was a case that the jury just decided yesterday or the day before, the Wisconsin shooter guy, and he was discharged and acquitted because they said all he did was defend himself. So, in cases where some cases you have no choice but to defend yourself, and that's what every normal human being must do at that point. So for us to talk about war, it has to be something that is well thought out, well strategized, well planned, and for people with solid military backgrounds like some of us here, I think it's something that would require proper thinking. Thank you.
I concur with you to exhaust as much as we can, not to engage in confrontation and war. It said, but can we forget the 1966 to 1970 war that have not ended even till today? Madam Ibe, my dear sister, what do you think? Is war
Well, like
inevitable?
Igwe said a few minutes ago, those who makes peaceful change impossible, they make violent change possible or inevitable. My question now is, Whom are you negotiating peace with? Is it somebody who knows the meaning of peace? Do you give what you don't have? Who have ever seen a peaceful Fulani man? Saying only good morning to a Fulani who didn't understand that you said good morning might shoot you. So the issue here is this: if we keep on being afraid, we are not yet prepared. We don't have armored car. We don't have fighter jets. We don't have AK-47. We are not going to go to war. Those of you in the military, you know the war strategy. First and foremost, everybody wants peace. I want Biafra to come in peace so that we can peacefully demarcate our regions, our borders, and man it. That's what Israel went doing in 1948, made possible by the United Nations Charter. But within 10 days of becoming a nation, 5 nations pooled their resources together. Thousands and millions of armored cars from Egypt, from Syria, from all those Asian countries, or Arabian countries, a nation that have not even built the first house on the soil where they have just been given. So many of those nations came with their armored tanks and air fighter jets to arbitrate them and take over the land. Something happened, and that miracle replicated in Biafra case. So in answer to your question, my first answer is that I want us to find Biafra. I want us to have Biafra nation in peace. 2, in as much as we want it peaceful, and they are making it impossible for us to get Biafra, whatever way they want it, I think we should go with them. This war we are talking about is we are not the one in the war. They are the one waging the war. A few minutes ago, we just speak about Anambra army coming to Anambra land in the pretense that they are going to come in for election. Election was conducted November 6th. Today is 20th or 21st. Now tell me, the commissioner of police in Anambra State, who is a Fulani man, made a statement and said, we will dominate Anambra State. The word dominate is a word that we use when there is inequality. The person that has higher power dominates somebody that has lower power. And that is how Biafra is being seen. They are dominating us in Anambra. They are dominating us in Imo State. They are dominating us in Enugu, in Abia. All of those states, coupled by their governor they put there. So the issue now is, in as much as we are all scared of a history of what happened in 1966 to 1970, 3 million people were killed. Yes, but if we keep on saying we cannot do the war, and at the end of the day, we are all eradicated. Do you know that they're eradicating us? Hey, number one, they're eradicating you through the means which IG have just highlighted: economically, financially, politically. They are eradicating us. Do you know the latest eradication? If you go to Amawusa, every of these states, the Hausa men are now merchant of amphetamines, hard drugs, and they are selling it cheap to our youths, and they are buying and drinking and dying. So give them another 5 years. Mkpụrụ will kill at least minimum of 20 million of Biafrans, young, blooded Biafrans, who will inhabit the land of Biafra, are being killed through Mkpụrụ. And nobody sees it that way. That's the way I am seeing it. So we are being eradicated. They are killing us, and through their police, through their army, through their DSS. They are also killing us through the Fulanis at Amawusa, selling Urumri to our youths. Our girls are being And they pick them up, they rape them, they have children for them, they turn them to Muslim. Why are you people saying we don't want war? The war is already in front of you. So my final submission here is this. If we are keeping on saying we don't want war, we want peace, at the end of your peaceful mission, you will have no land to live. You will have nobody to be called a Biafra. What happened in Israel will repeat itself, where in the 1948, there was no human being called an Israel who lived there. And those who lived there were living the occupation of Palestinians. If Israel government was created, that they become citizens. They were foreigners. Like IG said, Britain even went there and occupy it and become the Lord in Palestinian land. So what are we talking? What we are talking today is that as long as we don't want war, we are being killed gradually, both militarily, both politically, both economically, and now through the killing of our youth, through Mkpurumini, hard drugs. It is a planned program to kill our youth through these hard drugs. It's part of the plan to eradicate us.
IG, I have to come back to you. Thank you, my dear sister. The voice of the opposite sex is very important because so one, you know. But IG, Israel was seemingly at some point losing everything. It is now becoming news to us that Igbo people in diaspora outside of Nigeria are gradually going back to Alibo, all with the mindset of defending Alibo. So the 1966-1970 war is still continuing. But Madam Ibe makes a good point, that you cannot make peace if you don't have somebody to make peace with. Which way forward, IG? Where do we go?
The way out, the way forward is to pull the bull by the horn. Call a spade by its name. The way forward is Biafra. No other way. Our mission, our vision, our focus, our orientation should Biafra and Biafra only, nothing else. Aside Biafra, there is no life. If we don't have Biafra, Africa as a whole, the black world as a whole, will sink into Abyssinia. You see? And then to do this, we have to summon courage. We have to brace up for all the challenges with all options on the table. If they come for peace, if they want peace, we go in the peace way. If they want war, like they call it war, then we go that way because necessity is the mother of invention. We don't have to be fully prepared. We don't have to go down. If we go out like we're preparing for war, it looks like something we premeditated. But if something comes our way, it's just like you're walking on the bush path per se, or on the road, or any place, and all you see is a lion or a beast or the field jumps out. What do? Your adrenaline reaction will kick in. Then you fight back. You fight last battle of survival. If you don't fight away, fight out the beast, it's gonna kill you. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna eat you. He's going to have you for his dinner. So Nigeria is pouncing on us. The Fulani per se, the British are pouncing on us. What are we going to do? Watch and pray to, like the prophets of Baal. Baal never listened. So heaven helps those who help themselves. So you're going to have to do it ourselves. Yes. If you don't help yourself, don't ask heaven for help. But when heaven sees how much you are striving to help yourself, help will come your way. Had Israelites stayed back in Egypt, had Israelis stayed back in Europe, there wouldn't have been a place called Israel today. They took it upon, hey, what are we going to do? These guys are about to finish us off. Remember, in the book of Psalms, I think 37 or thereabout, says, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and we wept when the enemy asked us to sing the songs of our fatherland. But how can they sing the songs of the fatherland in a strange land? Dear friends, we are singing the songs of our fathers in a strange land, occupied by Fulani. My friend, my man, look at it. Who is the Fulani? In the first place, the evil man. I'm asking. Yeah, we don't have to be proud, but I guess we got to do something about this. Think about it. You are being shoved around by an ignoble. I don't know. Let me not. Just think about it. Think about this. Look at it. You know, from a critical point of view. View it through the microscope of reasoning. Fulani shoving the Igbo chiefs, elders, bishops that are going to bow before Buhari. Buhari that have been killing us from time immemorial. Buhari that have been truncating the system in Nigeria. You know, ousted President Shagari because of Alese Kweme. He fought out with Jonathan, threatened him.
All these questions that I've been asking you have come in. Quite a good number of people have been asking.
I want to chip in something real quick.
Absolutely, and then we'd like to get back to Madam Nenna Ibe. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
See, you see, sometimes we need to understand in this modern era, warfare is not always conventional. If we are strategic, then there might be other ways to put pressure or inflict pain on an enemy and get the desired result without having to engage in conventional confrontational warfare. I'll give you an example from the Nigerian context. I've said this before. During the Niger Delta people had the agitation, if some of us can recall. They had MEND, for instance, and other groups that were championing the cause of the Niger Delta area. They really inflicted hurt on the Nigerian government. How? They hit the pocket. Nigerian government depend on oil revenue, almost 100%. And the oil was coming from the Niger Delta area for the most part. And what did they do? They affected oil production, stopped it in some cases. So the funds were not coming into the pocket of the Nigerian government. And the ripple effect was global. Oil prices went up due to the unrest in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria. So what happened? The government had to pay attention to the agitation of the Niger Delta militants. And also the international community had no choice but to also pay attention because OPEC was affected. The oil prices globally was going up, and the average American saw their gas prices go up. And they will ask why.
Which is happening now.
Right. So they were able to achieve that. And what did they achieve? As a result of that agitation, Goodluck Jonathan became president one way or the other. Well, that's not the only reason, but that's part of the, you know, the result of that agitation. The government started paying attention to that region. They got appointments. Jonathan came in and everything. The militants themselves got amnesty. Some of them had to end scholarships to go overseas to study and everything. So this is they were able to achieve something from that form of warfare. There are so many other ways. Right now, warfare is no longer the border. Is it's wherever you are is your battlefield. If you are in Kaduna, if you are, so there's so much that can be achieved when we think out of the box and look at ways where we can inflict, where the government
Maximum
can feel
damage.
absolutely, so that they can really respond and know it's not a joke. Because if we're only thinking about it from the perspective of warfare, the way we understand it, then it's really not. We're in a complete disadvantage. Look, Secretary Blinken was in Nigeria. I think virtually. I don't remember exactly, but just recently, and the U.S. signed all these agreements and everything, and I don't hear them say anything about the Biafran struggle or what is happening in the southeast of Nigeria or anything like that. So there are so many ways we can, because, and why is that the case? The case is because they're dealing with the Nigerian government. The oil prices are high now. So, they're trying to regulate the thing and make things. They already called on the president of the United States to release strategic oil reserves so that they can bring down the prices. So there are so many of these things that, like IG pointed out, if you don't make yourself relevant, the West don't care. They don't care about you. You have to make them care about you. And at the same time, depending on them to liberate you, you got to fight for yourself. But you have to make yourself relevant so that they know that, okay, we have a stake in this thing and it's in our best interest to make sure that these people are happy, or else it's going to affect us. There's no permanent friends or enemy in U.S. diplomacy and in most international diplomacy. There's just permanent interest. So you have to find out how to make that permanent interest of yours theirs. And that way you can be able to achieve something.
Thank you so much. I have been really, this has been a great let's talk about it session. And we're going to be having more of it because so many things are happening at home virtually every day. We're losing a lot of lives, and we have to really do more and do something about it. My producers have given me a thumbs up warning, and I would like to close, but before I do, give me a thought from you, a last minute think. Talk about what you have in mind on Let's Talk About It. But before we go, it has been customary. First of all, let me thank all the people that sent questions in. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. But I was raised Numudim, Nanewi, small, very linkish, small, skinny boy. And here I am talking to the world. And I've always been raised to respect all of Papa's wives. 4 of them. Madam Onena, Madam Ibe, I'd like you to begin the closing remark and begin to tell me which way forward, and add anything that you would like to add to all that has been said. Would you please talk to the world? Tell our ladies, our daughters, all of them. Talk to the world, my dear sister. Which way forward?
Um, Charter number 2, colonized or oppressed people should have the right to free themselves from the bond of domination by African Charter on Human and People's Rights, restoring to any means recognized by the international community. This is African Charter. He said the oppressed people have the right to free themselves, and in doing that, they use any means recognized by the international community. One of the recognized ways of freedom is to fight with gun. I'm sorry. South Sudan didn't own in the platter of gold. Israel did not get their own in the platter of gold. After the Berlin Wall, the USSR was disintegrated. Those nations that were merged together, like Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, they all break according to their tribal lines. They all break according to their ethnicity. They stand on their own with one language, one culture, one religion, and they are all thriving today. That's why when you go to Europe, you see hundreds of nations, little ones. Some of them are 2 million, some are 4 million, some are 5 million. The important thing that individuals in that country, they are having what a nation look like. They have the right. They have a right for freedom of speech, a right to live well, a right to eat 3 square meals, a right to have a roof over their head, a right for freedom, a right of association, and a right of religion. These are human basic rights that Biafrans have lacked since this independence was foisted on us. Since 1960, before 1960, we had a regional government where we are ruled by men like Opera, and we had everything that we needed to make our nation what it is. Oduduwa had their own. Cocoa House was built in 1950, I think 58 or 59, if I'm not mistaken, from the produce of cocoa by Awolowo. Awolowo brought television in 1948, first television before France. They were developing according to their pace because that region was one people, one language, one culture, one religion. Then when we were all mixed together, in Igbo land we call it Egbagbaro, then nobody knows to it. That's why Fulani come and point a finger at our nose, and there is nothing we can do because we are looking. But remember, a man that will carry AK-47 to look after his car, how will you make peace with him? Waiting your cassava with his AK-47 at his back. If you tell him to carry his car out of your farm, he will shoot you. That is the language he understands. So I will round up here by saying that if Biafrans want to exist as a nation, if they want to exist as a people, if they want generations unborn to have a land called their own, this is the time to do it. And the way it is now, I don't see any peace, because who are you negotiating with peace? The people that went to Abuja to have fun and the Kanu release, they are not fighting for Biafra. I have to say it. So if they want to negotiate for peace, and the minimum peace we might want or looking for is to go back to our regional governance, and from there we can move forward. But that we should all be fostered in Nigeria, and maybe they will appoint one Uzodinma type of presidency who is an Igbo to go there and do their bidding. My dear, that is not acceptable to us. And I want to speak to the men, Biafra land. Biafra land, posterity will judge you men. If you keep sitting there and watching and waiting, when you have helicopter, and fighter jet and AK-40, a room filled with AK-47, is then you will go to war or whatever. I don't know. But this is the time. I was just going through my WhatsApp now, and I discovered that the dreaded Ekumeku has been formed again. Whoever does that, oh, I just hope and be another mention to our struggle. And secondly, I just also read that the militant in, I won't call them militants, the agitators in Niger Delta have blown the Ajib oil today. I don't know how that is true. So anyhow, anyway, ndị Igbo si ebe ọbụla nwa shebi ụwa ya firi, we need to be free. I can't come. This is 2-3 years. I've not been able to go home because of the insecurity. About if Biafra is there, wouldn't I be going every 6 months if I have the means and the resources? So I thank you all for the opportunity given to me. Let's talk about it. Should be a regular issue where we can rub our minds and let the world know what we are doing. These are part and parcel of what we are doing. And we appreciate my brother IG. As we are talking, I was just telling God to give me, maybe let me win a jackpot so that I can make something available for you to get your dream of what you are planning. Thank you all, and thank you, Igwe, for all your efforts. And thank you.
God bless you. God bless you, my sister. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very kindly. Your message is well understood. Your concern, your expressions, anybody in the world will understand what she said and what she meant. And she is very serious about it, and so are the rest of us. So let me go by, I suspect, chronologically, IG is younger than the rest of us. But let me ask IG to come in, and considering the amount of time my producers have given all of us, come in with your own conclusion on this let's talk about it segment.
Okay. Yes, I'll go by picking from the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. And I'll pick a bullet number 21, if you like, call it article. It says there, all peoples shall freely dispose of their wealth and natural resources. This right shall be exercised in the exclusive interest of the people. In no case shall a people be deprived of it. In no case shall the people be deprived of it. Now, you hear all the Nigerian billionaires, they got all that from the oil flowing from our side of the divide. And the white people call the oil or the crude oil fossils. Fossils, these are the blood of our ancestors. Yes, fossils.
Fossil fuel.
These are the blood of our ancestors. They've been drilled by the north. They lay pipe from the east all the way to the north. And now they lay pipe from the east all the way to the north across to Niger, Morocco, and other They mine, they harvest our natural gas with which they feed the whole world. And we don't get nothing out of it. All the industries, yes, all the coal in Enugu, they messed up that one. We had what do you call it? What is that cement made from? Cement, lime also. You know, they closed it down. All the industries, they shut down. All those things that give us, leeway to, have an economic breakthrough. They shut everything down. Ibeto Cement, they gave all the importation and exportation license to one man, one Fulani man. They call him Dangote. Through him, they siphon money from Nigeria to the rest of the world. What they call it, the illegal money laundering. They launder money from Nigeria to the rest of the world. So they have deprived us everything that will enhance good living to our people. So we are in deprivation. They don't let us be. So now on this charter, United Nations Charter, African Charter, this and that charter, all those things are fine prints written out, but they don't abide by it. But the fact the Western world are on the side of the oppressor. These are just written there for you to read and jubilate. So that is why you have to take your own destiny. Every man has a right to decide their own destiny. We have not decided our destiny. That is why we are being trampled upon by this, I don't know, dregs, human dregs. They're trampling on us. They're jubilating. They're giving us a litmus test. And they see that what they thought we were is not actually what we are. We portray them that we are cowards. We cannot defend our territory. We cannot defend our integrity. We cannot defend our people. That is why our chiefs went there begging. They should have given. They should have gone there, giving ultimatum, giving order that you have 1 second or so to let this guy go. This is one man who has come out. I mean, Nnamdi Kanu, come out, speaking, acting for the people, taking risk. Lost his parents. Every now and then they'll be chasing him all over the world, and they're jubilating. You know, they have. It's like they have caught the big fish they were looking for, and that is it. Now, what are we gonna do? They have done it several times. They killed Ironsi. They killed our prominent men. They chased Ojukwu out of, all people. All of our people, they kill them. They kill. That's all they do. That's what they deal on us. That's what they deal. I mean, that's what they pay us back. When you talk of the Nigeria independence, it was fought by us, gotten by us. They didn't even participate. They did not participate in getting independence for Nigeria. But what would they pay us back with? Killing, war. They have confiscated all the war instruments of war, all the security positions, all for themselves. With this, they would intimidate others, harass, kill, do everything. We don't have no say. And then I want to issue this. And you people, all the people that think they are very important, they identify with the Fulani and the British. You remember you're doing this at the cost of your people's blood. Remember, they don't have no regard for you. They are killing your people. They have no respect for you. And you think you are very important. You better think twice. Remember, in a situation of conflict, the worst enemy is the closest one. So these in-house rats, these people with the mentality of let's go back to Egypt. Let us remain in Egypt. After all, we have cucumber and all that you can eat. Remember, but you living alone. You left the land flowing with milk and honey, and God is pointing to you towards that direction. Go back there. These guys that are millionaires, they have oil wells in the east, but no Easterner have oil well. They have gold in the north. The gold is for them. They mine it, they sell it off for them. But our oil, and then they plant their stooges in our midst, like in the form of governors, senators, and all that. And they make them swear an oath of allegiance to them for themselves. And then they bring their military. Remember, whenever military says operation, it means war. So some of you don't understand it. They have Operation Golden Dawn. You think, oh, no, that means war. They're fighting us. They had Operation Python dance. They were dancing us. They were fighting us. They had Operation Crocodile Smile. They are killing us. They're fighting us. That is war all the time. That's what it is. Operation means war. Military has no business in a civilian enclave. But guess what? The Nigeria, today cannot boast of any foreign war they have fought. The only war they boast about is going about killing market women, killing people in worship centers, going to schools and killing people, hospitals and all that. Killing people in the street, unarmed. That is what makes them military. But this is a breach of laws of war. This is a breach of the Geneva Convention. And the world is looking the other way. They go to villages like invading forces from foreign land. Even invading forces from foreign land, they obey laws of war. You don't shoot women, pregnant women. You don't kill people, elderly people, sick people in the village. You don't raise down villages. You don't bomb churches. You don't bomb places of worship. You don't bomb cemetery. You don't bomb antique areas where people preserve for whatever, for historical place sites. But these people destroy everything. They eat up everything.
Thank you so
And we're
much,
doing
my
nothing.
brother.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very kindly. Very well put, very distinctively put, very clear message. And in captivity, in the end of what you're saying, enough is enough. Igwe! Igwe,
Chief OBIDIKE. Yeah, Chief
I
OBIDIKE.
leave the end to you to give us advice, to tell the world, in Germany, in France, globally, in our Libo, in Congress, the President of the United States, everywhere in this world. The title Igwe has a tremendous meaning in the culture of our Igbo people. My dear brother, please, on behalf of humanity, tell us which way forward.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Chief OBIDIKE. When you mentioned Umudim, I just remember the family that I'm close to from Newi, the great Ofamata clan. Ukwoji, Umudim. I want to thank you very much for this platform. I want to also thank my fellow panelists here, IG and Madam Neka, and also the participants and viewers or listeners all over the world that might have joined us. We will have to recognize the reality. I'm not going to repeat anything that we keep saying the same thing, so there's no gain saying the same thing over and over again that everybody knows. However, I'd like to say the importance for us to be awake at this time can never be overemphasized. And also the need for us to be united as a people. I mentioned it earlier on that if we are more intact, more cohesive together internally, then these things won't be as problematic as they are to us as a people. The Igbo is known to be very strong, very smart, very enterprising, very powerful, and it's something that we are, and we have to continue doing that. And in doing that, we have to be very careful to avoid a trend that I've seen where there's a lot of infighting going on. Igbos are known to be very opinionated. If you go to every village meeting, every town hall, people have opinions and they like to express it, you know. So we have to learn how to allow people to express their opinions, even if we don't agree with them. And let us use advanced reasoning and logic to bring them to our side. The biggest problem we can have is when we self-implode. And that is when the put divisions internally within us, and due to that, we might not be able to achieve what we are supposed to accomplish. So I'd like to encourage everyone to stay woke. These are very perilous times for us as a people, for our existence, and we have to start thinking creatively and start acting towards having true freedom and liberation. And in so doing, we can be able to achieve our goals as individuals, as humans, but also our destiny as a people. So once again, I thank you for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure. Although it was impromptu for me, I wasn't looking forward to this, but it's been a wonderful conversation, and I hope it continues going on.
Thank you so much, Igwe. My dear brothers and sisters globally, worldwide, you've heard the positions that has been taken tonight. And our first, let's talk about it session. I thank all of you for coming, impromptu as some of it was. Definitely impromptu for all three of you. We will continue this program of Let's Talk About It with Chief OBIDIKE. Love of each other is a must. Undibo, at this time of our history, cannot continue to be separate and apart, hostile to each other. We need to look up on our economic issues. Free Nnamdi Kanu and free him now. A warning has been sent out. Let there be not one hair of his that come off from that young man's body. A message to Igbo women. Take good care of yourself, of our daughters, of our mothers. Protect them as much as you can. Until the next time, this is Chief OBIDIKE with thank you to all the staff and the people that worked to make this program happen today. I mean, they really worked hard. Whoa, it's not easy. This is BTV Network, Abvet News, ABVT News, Washington, D.C. This program is a community discussion. Let's talk about it. Until the next time, stay tuned, stay aware, be protective of yourselves. God bless you. God take care of you. And most important, take care of yourself.